Oh yeah. All right.
Good
So,
evening,
Introduce
boys,
us, Nick.
lords and ladies. This is the
welcome. Yes.
AstroBros coming to you from all of those stars up above, giving you love from
And the
one another.
star down below.
Yep. Because actually,
Trodden.
that's true. Because there are stars above you, stars
Yes.
to the side of you, and stars underneath you too.
Well, there's stars that are below 3,000 members, too. Uh, just saying.
I
Just
mean, I
saying.
wish I knew that.
It's
I
pretty
wish I
recent
knew why I
I
was
saw that.
laughing. I wish I knew why I was laughing. But
Um,
yeah.
I'm
Speaking of
laughing.
yeah,
stars,
I mean, you don't
how
want to
are
make
Schadenfreude.
them mad.
how are
Yeah.
them
Yeah, we do.
planets and stuff treating us? Like, what's going on in them stars right now?
Schadenfreude.
Yeah.
But there
Schadenfreude.
are things going
Got it,
on in the
Troida.
stars.
Yeah.
Uh,
Schadenfreude.
I know certain
Yeah,
people
and as a
have
matter of
certainly
fact, we
enjoyed from
just
my
had.
suffering. But
I enjoy everybody's suffering equally. That's how I win. So anyway, just recently we had crash out season. We're recording this right now on. Is it the 28th? It's the 28th of April. We're just gonna say it's the 28th. I think it
yeah,
is the 28th. And just a couple days ago, we had the Mars Pluto opposition squaring the new moon in Taurus, and many people all around us were crashing out. So you're younger than me, Troy. What does crashing out mean?
Yeah,
I
Troy.
mean, I think Nick's younger than me, but
That's
uh,
true. But yeah, Troy.
I mean,
Oh, Nick, you're
crashing.
the youngest. What's
No,
crashing out
god damn
mean?
it. Oh fuck. I was hoping I wouldn't be put on the spot.
I don't actually know it per
Throwing
se. I would have to.
tantrums, throwing bullshit tantrums, getting caught up in bullshit, letting your bullshit overtake
But
you, and then you just kind of act a fool.
yes,
Yeah. That's my
yes.
guess,
And
anyways.
you
Yeah.
I
crash out of whatever you're in, right? You,
like
as a
rage
big
quitting.
spectacle, you
Yeah.
basically show your ass and continue to show your ass in a rolling motion as you find your way outside of a thing that you used to be inside of. And that's happening a lot right now. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, crashing out season. So, and why would that be? What is the Mars Pluto opposition, man? Tell me a little bit about it if you can,
Ooh.
Nick.
Oh, I mean, especially for guys, but just in general, Mars is like how we use our energy, how we go about our, day to day, and then opposite Pluto, like those two never go well together. I mean, they can. Let me rephrase that. But in like especially with transits, it definitely signifies like, I don't know if y'all heard about violent actions can happen during a Mars Pluto transit.
Yeah, there was a big
There's
one that happened. There
Yes,
was a
yes,
fire that happened in
yeah,
Iran or in
yes.
yeah, the port of Iran, a really important port for the oil trade, as a matter of fact. And it was very sketchy, extremely sketchy.
Yeah. And
Yes.
there was also someone crashed into a Filipino food truck like street fair in I think it was in Vancouver, Canada.
Oh, I heard about
And
that. A lot of people
yeah,
died from that, right?
yeah, just
Yeah.
just violent actions like Uranus to Mars can be violent actions, but also Pluto to Mars transits can be violent actions, and just and if we take that to the personal level, it doesn't maybe you're not gonna like fucking drive your truck into a fucking street fair, but you might just crash out in terms of like psychologically and kind of just throw a tantrum, kind of you you, it brings up people's Pluto shit, their deep psychological shit, and if they don't handle
Yeah.
it well, they crash out, they overreact, they act out, and Mars will act out and be a lot of energy, a lot of anger, a lot of whatever, and it can with if Pluto represents like our unconscious shit, like our deep unconscious shit, the stuff that we need to address, the stuff that we need to work through. If we don't work through it, Mars is going to trigger that, bring it out. It's going to come out, and it might not come out in the best ways. So yeah, that's the whole
And
people crashing out.
yeah, there's been a lot of it. People that I really like, people that might have been on the show before crashed out just recently.
Yes.
Um, And it was sad to see that happen. We don't like to see it happen. But sometimes it's like about power. It's about not feeling powerful in your own life, for example.
Yeah.
And I think especially with Mars and Pluto, when you don't feel powerful in your own life, sometimes like you get mad at other people rather than changing your own
Yes.
life. Because if
Yes.
Well,
you
it's
realize that where your locus of control was, you would realize that the best power you have is to change your own situation.
Yes.
It's not to
Yes.
change other people. Um,
Absolutely.
and that is kind of the Mars Pluto opposition. Some people went through it okay, some people went through it pretty rough. Um, you know, what are you
Yeah.
going to
No.
do?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a good point because there is a positive. It's like I did say, oh, it's always a negative thing. It's not always negative. It's like you can also use the Mars Pluto energy to really. It's like giving energy to transforming yourself to really going in and fucking like working like your own shit. Like if you take accountability, then yeah, you're gonna use that energy to like really take accountability for yourself and move forward with it and like
well,
analyze your own
yeah.
shit. Take yeah.
If
Go
you're
ahead,
in a
Trey.
receptive state, that extra data is going to be very
Yes.
influential because you're like, oh, sweet, I'm already working on this shit. This is great data, and it's also the thing is like where it's like if you're in a receptive state, all of that stress that comes into your body, you're like, oh, I need to respond to the situation. Sweet, all of this stress is giving me that extra energy, and then you can just move it to where you need it. And oh god, I had
Yeah.
another point I was going to say earlier that tied in with this, but anyway, it'll come back to me.
Oh, you're good. But
Word.
yeah. Yeah.
The big thing that's changing this week, astrologically, again, we're talking to you on the 28th of April. So when this comes out, this might be old news, but by the time that this comes out, Venus will have moved from Pisces to Aries, and that's where Venus went during the retrograde. So it's already kind of
Yep.
gone through this transition already, and this is like the second transition. So a lot of people, when Venus moved into Aries, they were getting more in touch with what they actually wanted, like on sometimes a romantic level, on sometimes like a more material level. And then during the push back into Pisces, when it retrograded back into Pisces, people kind of had like to reflect because Venus in Pisces is more of a reflective water sign. It's thinking of the highest good, whereas Venus in Aries is a much more selfish position. It's more about like what makes me feel good, not what's best for the whole world, right? So a lot of people went through that, started to move forward during the when Venus was in Aries before, and then Venus went back into Pisces, and now it's going into Aries again. So the people that really utilize the Venus retrograde are going to have a better understanding of what they actually want and have it like connected to their higher levels. Because sometimes what you want is what's actually good for you,
Yeah.
surprisingly. Sometimes it's
Wow.
not, but sometimes it
Well,
is. Sometimes like
that's
you've been
that's
lying to yourself about what you want.
that comes back
Um,
down to the thing I like to talk about all the time is love and fear. And it's like it's the same thing with like hot and cold. So it's like we're really bad at being able to put our hand outside and be like it is 30 degrees outside or whatever. It's like but we're very good at knowing relative temperature. Like when you can step into the shade and you're like, "Oh wow, 5 degrees difference is a huge difference one way or another. Oh, this is a little bit warmer over here. Oh, I'm feeling the wind not pulling my heat away." And it's the same thing that it works with our intuition with energy too. Cuz it's like I mean, heat's the same way. It's just, when we're tapping into our biology, we're feeling the things that give us energy and the things that don't. And when we're aligning with things that make us stronger and things that don't.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No.
And we
And
got to follow our intuition along that path. And I think that that is maybe something that men have been trained more to dismiss is their intuition. Um,
Yeah. Well,
and it's
especially in the
unfortunate because I feel like that's kind of seeded the field to the other side. And we shouldn't. We should actually trust our intuition a little bit more, step
it's
into the playing
over
field, especially in spirituality, a little bit more. because it needs sacred masculine and sacred feminine. It's not, you don't just have one or the other, otherwise it's unbalanced.
Well, and it's part of that. It's part of the draw into the science, because the science is a very good framework. But like, let me put it this way: if you're using the scientific method without having the philosophy of science behind it, it's just another like you're just stuck in the materialism again. You know, so you have to have good epistemology to your approach of reality to actually see the patterns properly. And that's one
I've
thing,
never
like,
totally understood the word epistemology. What does it actually mean? Is it the
epistemology is
study of
just how we
systems?
it's basically how we learn things, is more or less. It's so it's just like, because it's like, how do we learn something? We're going to learn it from a book. Where how do we, like, and it's the same thing with like tools, like how do we make sure a level is level, and it's understanding where our knowledge comes from, and the like root sources of that is more or less what epistemology is.
Got it.
So yeah, and also
It's the
recognizing,
basis of our philosophy, basically. Is that what you're saying? It's like our base fundamental beliefs or
it's
fundamental.
well, like, philosophy of science is gonna understand, like, okay, what are we actually trying to do in science? Is that we're trying to isolate certain variables. But the thing is
Yeah.
that, like, most of the time we don't get to isolate things actually to one variable. So we
No.
have to set things up in different circumstances and draw in from context. And so,
Yeah.
like research scientists who are biologists in the middle of the ocean or in the middle of the wild, anywhere, like, they can't go take wild animals out of their environment, because that's going to ruin the experiment. So it's like they have to conduct experiments out there in the wild with very, very little resources. And so it's like, just like, so much of the thing is like, it's a call to fallacy, or uh I forget the other name, but there's a very similar fallacy too. But it's basically like, it it constantly requires all of the way that you verify your information from an outside source, and that's basically just asking, because, like, that's the manipulators who are going to come in, which is very different from peer review, because peer review means you're subject to other people doing it. But like, the biggest
Yeah.
problem with peer review right now is most science is supposed to be done off repeat studies, which other people have lived or conducted the same experiment, to be able to draw similar conclusions, you know? But the problem is, like, currently right now, nobody's funding it. There's no money in it, because almost everything has to be monetarily advantaged. And all the government studies are essentially all focused in that same direction. So, like, good science
No.
is can't be done without repeat studies, because actually repeat studies are more important than peer review, because peer review is just
Well,
people in the
that's how
technicality.
you.
Yeah.
Yes. No. No. Exactly. No, Troy. I'm very impressed. Off the top of your head, you were able to fucking nail it. I looked up the definition, and I'm impressed with you. Fucking nailed it. The purpose of it is, it's basically, yeah, it's to, like, epistemology is the investigation of what distinguishes justified belief from opinion. So it's like, instead of just opinions about stuff, it's the theory of knowledge. Basically, it's especially with regard to methods, validity, and scope, which is exactly what you said, Troy. I'm genuinely impressed because you fucking nailed it without even having to look it up. And but yeah, it's basically taking, like, studying like what is true, and removing opinion out of that, and like trying to understand. And what you said exactly is true, is like you have to repeat studies to like really get to the bottom of something, and not just take someone's opinion, because opinions are, there's a million of them, and they're all fucking, everyone has their own opinion on shit. But no, it's like getting to the bottom of something based on study, based on, it's like trying to find the true, like, truth of something without, just basing it off of, oh well, this person said this and this person said this, well that must be what it is. No, it's like, it's disregarding those things, maybe taking them into account, but then finding the fucking truth, and what is true knowledge and true understanding of something, using different methods. I mean, there's different ways of going about it. We, methodology, what you're saying, but
Yeah.
like, it's really distinguishing personal beliefs and personal opinions versus what is objectively true. So I'm genuinely
Yeah.
impressed that you were able to nail that shit off the top of your
Well,
head. So well done,
thank you.
sir.
Well, and it's also just like, so much of what science is you're trying to figure out what is anecdote and what is evidence, you know? And a lot of that is setting up context, you know? So, and it's the same way that, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is it's the same way that we understand information and interact with stuff. And the one thing I've always learned is that like truth is always connected to truth. You know, if
Yeah.
if you find out one thing's true, it's always going to follow something else and always going to link to something else and always going to link to something else. That all truth is connected.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, and it's the thing is, it's like it's the same thing I've learned with experts. It's like you can kind of recognize the tonality of certain experts, and you know, like don't get me wrong, there's like maybe at least a half dozen of different archetypes of different experts that you can kind of just recognize right off the bat, that you're going to see like certain ones are going to be like the crazy out there guy be on the edge. You're going to have certain people who are like, oh, I used to be the crazy guy out there be on the edge, but now I'm like calmed down and I have this whole environment and this business built. And then you just have different people who are like, oh, I made lots of money and then I figured my shit out, you know. And you have these different kinds of experts that you have that you can rely on because of really their experience, you know.
Yeah.
But in, you know, um but I guess like to backtrack just a little bit, it's like the philosophy of science is also understanding that like what you're trying to isolate and understanding the like core mechanisms there, that it's like not everything requires a lab and a microscope and a lab coat, you know, and such like this. You don't need a big fancy sensor for all this stuff. It's like people have been figuring out truth without all of those implements for all of human history. So it's, you know, it's like the philosophy of science is really important to actually have down. And that's the problem, is that like, you know, right now it's like, you know, they're just training scientific workers right now, and very few of them actually figure it out in that system, you know, and then like that's the only way that they can thrive. So they just stay within that system.
Do not run off.
Yep.
Yeah. Well,
Dogs.
and oh yeah, no, and just to dumb it down, like it really just comes down to like, you know, you know, stove is hot. I put hand on stove. Stove burns me. Stove is hot. Okay, I take hand off stove. Is my hand burning because stove is hot, or is there something else going on? Let's try again. Stove is hot. I put hand on stove. It burns me again. Okay, fucking like it doesn't matter if someone's like, oh well, no, it's because of this blah 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 blah. No, it's like stove is hot. I burn myself when I touch stove. Like there are
Very
fundamental like
important lesson for many children.
yeah,
Yeah.
yes, exactly. But also, it's like, you can theorize and get all fucking high and mighty and fucking convoluted about shit. But sometimes it's just like the
Stove is
truth
hot.
is just stove is hot. It's like it's not as complicated, and sometimes the truth is just that you have to, and that's where the experiment comes in. But it's like, yeah, sometimes things are just thing is this way. We try it, and then we can fucking rationalize and get all fucking philosophical and come up with all these other theories and whatever. But it's like sometimes that's just bullshit.
Well, and the thing is right now is that like, you
Post
know,
rationalization is the real problem.
I'm pretty
Yeah,
decent. I'm
Like
pretty decent with math, but at the same time, it's like you can basically like cook the math and cook, like you can basically get a set of data and then just cook the math any way you want it, and
yeah,
it's like, and that's what they do so much right now with corporate studies and all this kinds of stuff. So it's like, and then it's like you say this stuff, and then they're like, "You're anti-science," and I'm like, "No, you're anti-science. I want real science. I don't want
yeah,
corporate rigged science." Like,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
and it's just
that
like,
makes
and
sense.
that's a 20-year-old liberal opinion. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
Yeah.
oh,
No, but okay,
No, the
pulling
20-year-old
politics.
liberals think something completely different.
Yeah,
I
oh
know.
God, boy is
Got him.
girl, girl. Oh, sorry.
I meant like 20-year-old liberal
I
opinion.
totally understand what you're saying.
Yeah, yeah. He was making
That was
I
what
know.
some people call a joke.
what?
Making a
What is
funny.
a joke?
I mean, we were trying to just have some fun a little bit.
No, I get it. I love the word plays. I mean, you
That's
are
good.
the dad among us. You should make some dad
Yeah,
jokes.
Daddy. Tell us, Daddy.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Daddy O.
It's weird. It is kind of fun getting called that every once in a while. I mean, I can't admit that I like it. I mean, I'm
yeah,
not like anti it.
yeah.
Um,
Oh
yeah,
shit.
I mean, it's fine. I mean, doesn't like inflate my ego too much because I'm only really a dad to my kids.
Oh,
Yeah, they say, many say. But I think that it's interesting thinking about like the way that science has been kind of corrupted,
yeah.
and that is an interesting thing to dive into. I feel like science was corrupted during COVID in a big way.
Yes. Oh God, yeah.
And I feel like many people lost faith in the process because of that, which they shouldn't, because the scientific process is actually good.
Yeah,
But it has been so corrupted that it's difficult to take it seriously, trust it anymore.
yeah,
So we've got to figure out how to trust our institutions again. And that's really difficult because our institutions have seemed fundamentally broken
yeah.
Yeah.
over the course of the last few years, you know?
But
Um, yeah.
yeah, no, no, and that's where I think Troy mentioned it, but it's like, yeah, like we can go back to the basics, like before we had lab coats and all this bullshit. It's like, you know, you can still test things. You can test things. I forget, I don't know the words for it, but there's like a philosophy, an understanding of philosophy where it's like your senses experience something, and yeah, obviously we all subjectively experience reality. So like we have our own biases, we have our own way of like viewing things, like, but even that aside, like, we can experience reality and go, okay, there's a certain thing, this is happening. I'm going to keep testing it. And if it keeps happening the same way, then I can make a hypothesis and come to a conclusion about, okay, well, this same thing happens every time I do this thing. So that
That's
means that,
basically how you understand morality, I think,
yeah,
in
yeah,
general,
yeah,
is like you make a mistake or you do something often that you're not quite sure what the outcome is going to be.
yeah,
And sometimes, if we're really compulsive about things, we'll keep making that same mistake and we'll keep getting the same results until we
yeah.
actually learn it. And it seems to be like karmically that the more you make the same mistake, the harder the lesson comes back. If
Oh
that
yeah.
makes sense. If you keep trying to push
100%.
the
Yeah.
same thing, it'll keep coming back at you, but it'll keep coming back like harder and more intense
Oh,
over the
definitely.
course of time.
Yeah.
Definitely.
No, and that's that. There's something in the Bible about that where it's like, yeah, like once you know you've like quote unquote like committed a sin or done something that you know is like wrong, like God forgive. I mean, again, I'm not trying to get religious, but the whole idea is just to emphasize that point. Like God forgives true misunderstandings, but like once you do something and then in your heart you know it's fucking wrong, then you do it again, then you get less and less forgiveness in that sense because it's like, well, you keep doing the same thing even though you know it's wrong, like you're gonna, like you get less and less leeway basically. Like yeah, you everyone fucks up, everyone is living life and it's a shit show, it's hard, we all
We
make
all have our
mistakes.
share of the common evil. That's how I
Yes,
like to look
yes,
at it, right? We
exactly.
all do. Each one of
But
us do.
yeah, but when you know that you've done something evil, quote unquote, you don't get as much leeway then to keep behaving that same way. Like there's like
Yeah.
it's a slope. It's like each time you do that thing, then you get less and less leeway. And I think that kind
Well,
of
it's
principle
very
applies
well.
in
It's
general.
it's very well. Yeah. That's very different. Is because it's like if you know that you're doing the thing that you're doing it, and you keep doing it, and you know
Yes.
that you're doing it, it now becomes intentional.
Yes.
And
Yes.
Well, it
so
can be
there's a
habit. It
huge
can be
difference between
compulsive. There are
unintentional and
aspects
intentional.
that like kind of play into that, I'd say.
Yeah. That's true. And I think, and yeah, it's not like a all or not, like you have to be perfect the next day. Like it's nothing like that. It's like, but it's like, say like if you're if you do something horrible, or not even horrible, just something that you know is detrimental to you or those around you, and then you get feedback that tells you, okay, this, and then somewhere inside you're like, okay, I recognize that this isn't. You can take two paths. You can either ignore it and then just double down and keep going down that path, or you can go, okay, this is wrong, I'm gonna slowly progressively make change my behavior so I don't keep doing said thing. And that's just, I mean, that's a very like personal, like, but like even just if we take religion out of it, just psychologically, like yeah, we know that like people who just keep doing fucked up shit even though they've gotten feedback on whatever level that it's fucked up, like it takes a certain level of psychopathy to like, or you're a psychopath, to be like, well, fuck it, I'm just gonna keep doing that because fuck it, I don't care. It's like if you don't have anything in the back of your head that's saying like, maybe I shouldn't treat this person this way, but I'm gonna keep doing it. It's like it almost takes more effort to keep doing the shitty thing, and then you have to like shut down parts
Yeah.
of yourself versus just going like, okay, if I stop doing that, then and maybe it like relieves a certain amount of energy, or relieves a certain amount of like, I don't know. I think that's where we're rewarded. That gets into the spiritual side of it. It's like if you like people who act a certain way, they get more and more miserable, they get more and more shitty, and then they go, well, what the fuck? Why is my life so hard? Why is everything falling apart from me? Well, it's like you're taking no
You act
accountability.
shitty. You're mean to
Yeah,
everybody.
yes.
Like you are
Yeah,
constantly not listening. I
yeah,
feel like it's
There-
like the
yeah.
people do get fixated on, you know, repeating certain patterns. And I think that those patterns usually have to do with your chart, first
yeah,
and foremost. It's like
yeah,
the unconscious parts of your chart, the parts that you
yeah,
haven't integrated yet. So I
Yep,
feel like
yep.
the basic goal of it, your understanding your chart, is understanding yourself and
yeah,
integrating the parts of yourself that you are projecting out onto other people, right? Like there's so
yeah,
many things that we do, and everybody's guilty of this. Like nobody's free of doing this kind of shit, right? But we all like project parts of ourselves out onto the world. Instead of taking our share of the common evil, we decide that it's not actually us. It's actually, it's actually Trump, or it's actually like
yeah,
the
yeah.
leader of this Facebook group, or it's actually like um
What?
it's actually this, it's actually
Yeah,
Hitler. We
yeah,
don't we
yeah,
don't know, whatever.
yeah,
But like people project their fucking problems out on other people when they can't deal with themselves,
yeah,
and they put them on other people. And that's like polarization. It connects to that, which is a very we're going to learn a lot more about that during Gemini season. I think polarization is going to be the real
Well,
um
totally.
lesson of Gemini season.
Well, and I think that polarization that you're talking about ends up coming down to it karma, because it ends up, because essentially, like, just like you were saying, our unhealed lessons end up being frequencies in our field. You could say that our chakras are out of balance, so they're putting out excess energy in certain ways. So certain people who are vampiric in like those certain types of energies will be
So,
drawn to them. If you have
for
certain
example,
energies that you're putting out and you're imbalanced, you're going to draw certain behavior, because people are going to be like, oh, you're a beacon for fucking, like first chakra energy. Well, then, yeah, of
yeah,
course I want to come
yeah,
there and
yeah,
fucking, yeah, I want to get all over your ass, because, I need more of that. And so, when you're out of balance, you attract out of balance. And, uh yeah, it's just one of those processes that, like, especially when it's aligning with your chart, is it's you have all these you have basically, like, to oversimplify it, for each placement you have the karmic opportunities and burdens that come with that, you know
oh yeah,
so it's a simple thing, is that, like, like, what's the saying, if you're a hammer, if to a hammer everything's a nail. So if you
hmm
only have one thing working in your chart properly, well, then you're going to overuse that one aspect for everything, and
yeah,
then you're not going to actually embody your whole chart even, but you're going to be much more of a, because then all of those traits in the other aspects are basically going to turn into all of the fallen aspects, or on all the negative qualities, more or less,
yeah,
oversimplifying it,
yeah,
um,
sure,
and then magnify each other.
yeah. Now,
well,
okay,
it's whatever is not integrated is shadow
Yep.
by definition, right? So whatever part of yourself that you pretend is not yourself is the part that's put out onto the world,
yeah,
like just in general.
yeah,
And that's the point of a chart, is to learn this is who I am. It might not all be rainbows and puppy dogs. And like the more that we want everything to be like that for us, I think the more lost we tend to be.
Yeah.
That's like where spiritual egotism comes in. That's where like people get like too caught up in their own ego ideal, or too caught up in identity because they haven't integrated like who they actually are, you know? And it's like that's what's good about astrology is it gives you like a roadmap to understanding yourself. And then once you understand yourself, it's not about like overcoming your squares. It's about recognizing that those are a power that you have, a very challenging power, but once you integrate them, it's it's way better to have a hard chart that you
Yes.
master than to have
Yes.
an easy chart.
So quick
Way
Agreed.
question.
better. 100
Agreed.
110 fucking
Yeah.
percent. A hard chart is the thing that gives you struggle and strife so that you rise to a higher position, you
Yep.
know?
Yep.
An easy
Yep.
chart just,
Yeah.
an easy
Yeah.
chart comes up when you're like born
Yeah,
into
totally.
privilege and you never do
Yep.
anything with it. You know what
Yep.
I'm saying?
Yep. 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 100%.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
No.
And
Yeah.
well, yeah, no, I totally agree with what you're saying. So clarification. Is there a
Yeah.
difference between a square and an opposition?
Yes.
Yes.
And
Can I
so
jump in? Can I
please,
jump in?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, go.
my humble understanding of it is a square is usually an internal struggle. It's something that is like the two parts of your psyche are at odds and kind of they're just not like they, but the point is to integrate them and to get them to work together because like Mike was saying, there's a lot of power there. There's a lot of once you can integrate those two things together, yeah, it's great. You then can move forward with both those energies and that dynamic, the square dynamic creates a tension, but again that tension creates
my favorite word.
more than just complacency and easy. And an opposition usually happens through others or it happens through like external stimuli, whatever you want to call it. Usually that is other people because that's just how the world works. I mean, usually
Yeah.
when like
Oh,
so
gotcha.
like so the square because it's so an opposition is usually like someone in your life who
Externally
annoy
manifested.
yeah, someone might annoy the shit out of you. That's usually an opposition because it's like it's basically you have a certain dynamic in yourself, you have an energy in yourself. They will embody the so say you have okay, speaking for myself, I have an opposition. I have you know, well this is an obscure one, but I have the moon directly opposite the asteroid Eris. So like I embody the moon sign because most people will embody their moon sign very strongly because that's a very, that's normally how it goes. You feel comfortable. That's a comfortable place to be energetically inside yourself. Others, so in opposition,
And you attracted an eristic Aries.
yeah, you tell me.
Yeah, that's kind of
And
interesting. Aries
yeah,
moon.
yeah. And the opposite will stimulate and frustrate you, but in a good way. And if you are able to step up to it, you realize that what they're frustrating in you, the whatever the opposition is, they're gonna embody that opposition in your chart only to basically get you to balance the two. So in opposition, you're trying to find a balance, whereas a square, you're trying to integrate the two. And like, so a square is going to be like, so it can happen through other people and through how they influence you, but a lot of the times it's like when we talk about like this is controversial, but when we talk about like mental illness, like internal mental illness, like internal battles that we have in our own psyche, like, I might be, someone might be happy one day and then frustrated and sad and despondent the next day. It's like that's an internal thing you're working through. Like you're basically like you're battling two parts of your psyche. You're trying to
It's
vie
more
for
likely to be a natal square. It's more likely
yeah,
to show
no,
up as a
exactly.
natal square. Yeah.
Exactly. A natal square specifically. Oh, sorry. Yeah, let me clarify. That's what I'm talking about is specifically in the natal chart. And like not by transit. Transit's a whole other animal that'll bring people into your life externally. Like so say like you have a transit that is an opposition to one of your points that will temporarily bring someone into your life that activates that part of yourself to say like hey like work on that part of yourself and depending on where we're at with that point so like say like Mars is transit opposite your sun at the moment like that's going to activate your sun in your psyche and then get you to work on the parts of your sun. And so if you ignored or you don't really, if you're not like integrating that part of your psyche into yourself and you're not like working on that part, you're not like enacting that part, that opposition is going to do that. And it can express in many different ways depending on what you need. So like it's not just
Sweet.
like one specific.
But it's something. It's like planets in shit.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Planets
I
and
just can't
shit.
remember the name of the book. And
That's been my experience of astrology so far.
planets and shit.
Yeah.
I might
No,
end up seeing not Lacey, what's her name? Dallas and Lex in
yeah.
Missouri. They might actually meet up with me in Missouri. That's kind
Oh,
of
that's
cool.
Oh
awesome.
yeah.
They're fun people. They're fun. They're
Yeah,
great.
they're
Yeah.
cool. They're
Shout
cool.
shout out to Lex and Dallas. I'm
Shout
giving that a
out.
shout out.
Whoop, whoop,
They're
whoop.
they're fucking cool. They're great people. So
I would shotgun this, but it's already gone. So
Yeah.
I'm not
sorry.
gonna shotgun a glass bottle, but yeah, exactly. No,
Pansy.
they're good people. Lex is fucking good people. Like she knows how to manage people. Like if you how do I say this without because Troy's recording. If I know you already have your people set up, but she would be good for a Scorpio. I'll just say that. But I know you already have your people picked, so yeah.
David. I'm sorry, David earned it.
It's being recorded, by the way. But yeah, okay, yeah, I know. David's
Well,
great.
it's
I'm
gonna
not.
come out.
That's the
It's
thing is,
gonna come out by then, but yeah.
yeah. I have
So,
nothing against David at all. Like David's great. I'm not. I'm just saying, if you needed a backup, she
I
would be a
think
great.
Lex is going to be for right now, and I know this is being recorded, but Lex right now is the Chapman, and she's like having fun with that. She's creating
Yeah,
games and doing that
yeah,
stuff.
oh
And
yeah,
in
I've
a
been.
certain extent, Chapmans are the people that are going to eventually be the next
nice.
people that we bring on, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
But I definitely want to keep it balanced between the sexes because I
Yeah,
think that in general, astrology groups are imbalanced like a lot, like
yeah.
on the
On the,
feminine side.
yeah, I was gonna say, yep.
And
Yeah,
many of them are very thirsty women, and we
yeah,
should have more men for them. You know what I'm saying? Like that
yeah.
needs to
Well,
happen.
David's a very thirsty man. David, I know you're gonna maybe hear
I
this. I'm
know. I know
kidding.
that you
Calm down.
promised every man a woman. So I'm
Yeah.
just.
No, it's good. It's good.
I don't
I
know.
didn't
They
promise
were
anything.
rumors.
I said that if I mean, I don't, for example, I think there's certain people in the group that will probably never get women, but they might get butt rubs. This is like the only thing that I know.
Like,
Good.
I mean, no, I am a little bit weird how like I have
Yeah,
all
we
this
know.
shit going for me and I'm still not connecting with women. That's part of the reason why I'm just like, do I just need to leave the state? Is just everybody
Yes,
You need to leave
yes,
the state, dude.
yes. Holy fuck,
okay?
yes. I can't emphasize this enough. Yes. You're fucking
Yeah.
relocate. Okay, astrology alone, your relocation shit, or your astrocartography tells you that you need to fucking get out of the western side of the country. Like, I'm not trying, I know it's not easy, so I'm not like, but
Well,
you
but to
will
be
fucking excel
no, I get it. I get
if
it.
you
And it's
go
like I
east.
got good friends here, but also it's like my whole friend group I made in just the last few years and like no offense to them, they're good
Yeah.
people, but they're just like they're not you guys. They're not like I have better friendships with some of the people in fucking, smut chat than I do with people that I've known,
Exactly.
that I couldn't
Yep.
that I couldn't
Because
be
they're not
vulnerable with,
they're not in your area. That's wild. Yeah.
Yeah.
Figure
All
out
right.
okay, this is a good lesson. Figure
Let's
out
get back
where
on
the people
topic.
who you really connect with. Oh yeah, let's
This is
record.
this is
Okay,
back on
yeah.
topic, but say it. I
No,
mean,
we'll
this is
just
going back on the recording, but say it.
just figure out where the people who you click with live. Like
Yep.
you don't need like the exact location, but just like what general area of the country, the world they live in, and then see what with the astrocartography that chart you that map
Yeah.
you posted, and yeah, see like say like someone lives in a certain area, see what line lines up with that, and then you'll maybe like get an idea of like, oh, I click with this person because of these things, and they happen to live there. I'm just saying, like,
No, no, no. This
there's
is
something to
actually
And
a
that.
great
literally
subject
here, a
because
dude willing to work will make money.
Yeah.
If
no,
you're
no, no, but
willing to work,
Yes.
you will make
Yes.
money out here.
but
Yes.
let's take
Very
this
few
step.
people are
No,
willing.
but
No.
let's hold on. Let's just take a step back for just a second. So if
No,
somebody, not just me,
only
but like
forward.
they're like it's just a like so if somebody is trying to
Oh,
find
I
the
love you.
place that they're supposed to live, if they're not from if they're not feeling at home,
Yeah, yeah.
because it's like you can go look at ley lines and such like that or whatever, but like it but when you
But
really
when you
want
really,
but what it when it comes to like the so it's like you can do the astro cartography chart. So
Yes,
yeah,
basically that it's going to
you could.
show, and at least on the one I did, I'm going to
Austin.
have to do some more research
yeah,
on it. Hold on,
yes.
just let me
Oh,
just
sorry.
no, let me just finish my
No,
point. Cuz no,
no.
I'm trying to explain the concept.
Okay,
Hold on
I'm
just a
just fucking
second.
with you, man. I'm sorry.
Is
No, let me
you're
I
not,
love you guys, but just
you're not wrong.
let me explain.
Austin though, yeah,
stop poking the
Austin.
fish brain. All right.
I'm
Uh,
gonna.
Um
respect, Troy. I respect it. You know what? I appreciate. Okay, you've gotten a lot more confident in the past like month, and I fucking dig it. Sorry, I just had to
Yes,
tell
it
you.
is
Keep
good.
going.
It is
Yeah,
good.
keep
No,
going.
so
Keep
it's
going.
just so the whole thing is that like it's not just a me thing. So it's just like if we're talking about like people are trying to find like where they should move because people are always trying to do this as a regular thing. So it's
Yeah,
just like I just have a couple questions because you guys know some different stuff. So
sure.
so if we're looking, so the one I looked at was a travel chart. Now I know that there maybe should go look at a couple of the other trusted sites to go see how they correspond with each other to go see like because basically that like uh, now is it I don't know exactly how those charts are calculated. Is it that those that basically like that's where that there's more intersection of the energy essentially along those places? Is that how it works along those different lines?
Yeah,
Um,
and there's certain places that are going to be two lines crossing,
Yeah.
and those are usually the good places. Say that you got a,
yeah,
like the Mars Jupiter line,
yeah,
and you can find the crossing of those two. For you, that would be really good because it'd be like, as long as I put energy in, I'm going to get benefit from this, right? Like,
Yeah.
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 Well, and
A
Okay.
Saturn line is very difficult, though. If you're on a
yeah,
Saturn line, you should watch your ass, man.
yeah.
Well,
And I was.
which
Let me
ones
just.
which
Oh,
ones do
go
you
ahead.
want? Which ones don't you want to be
Well,
on?
it depends on
Depends.
your. It depends. So
Yeah.
he's correct about the Mars Jupiter because you have a lot of Sagittarius stuff. You have a lot of Pisces stuff. You have Aries stuff.
Yeah.
Mars rules Aries stuff. Jupiter rules the Pisces. I mean, well, secondary rule, but just simplifying it, Jupiter rules your Sag and Pisces stuff. That's going to be very positive. So, like, it depends on what you're looking for, what clicks with you, what clicks with your chart. But your chart, you have a lot of like Jupiter energy and a lot of the
Yeah.
Martian energy. So
Okay.
looking at those, they would click. Say like you have a bunch of like say like your Venus is in Capricorn, you have a bunch of stuff in Capricorn. Yeah, maybe Saturn might work out better for you, but you don't. So that's where I would avoid that. Like, and I agree with Mike on that level. But like for you, it's like, or like say you have like Saturn conjunct Venus. Like, yeah, maybe there's like, it would you get some lessons living in like a Saturn area because it might activate that part of your chart. It's really about what parts of your chart the area you're living in is activated. So like, and what you want for yourself, because basically, like, if say you move to like, so I remember in your astrocartography you had the Uranus and Mercury lines were very close together. So do you want a place where you get like a lot of communication, a lot of insight,
Opportunity.
a lot of
Crazy opportunity.
yeah, yeah,
Sudden opportunity.
and but very cerebral, very mental, very if that's what you're looking for, that's the area to go. If
Yeah.
you're looking for comfort and enjoyment and pleasure, look at like if you want like, pleasure and enjoyment, look at your Venus line. If you
Venus
want
line, yeah.
if you want your comfort and to feel just I feel at home, look at your moon line. That would be Phoenix for you. So like it depends on what you want and also your chart as a whole. So like your chart as a whole has a lot of Jupiter and Mars, as Mike said, Jupiter and Martian. So like looking at the Jupiter and the Mars lines, you would click and you would fit in. You would feel it's
Leonard,
amazing. Yeah, it's amazing
you
the
stay
difference.
back here.
Yeah, when you move to a place or when you even travel and just visit a place that is on one of those lines, you will be amazed at the difference in how you feel. And it's not just the culture of the area, it's the culture of the
Leonard.
area and how it clicks with you. And those two things can be shown through like the culture of like the South, for example. It's a very, friendly, open, like South Carolina, for example, is a Gemini state that works very well for me. I mean, I'm an air sign myself. I have a lot of Sagittarius placements. It just
Huh.
works. It works for me. Like, and
I'm in
so,
a Scorpio state. I think North Carolina is a
oh
Scorpio state.
shit. Okay, yeah. I think
Washington is too.
yes, I was
Washington
gonna
is
say
too. Yeah.
Washington, and that works for you because you have a lot of Scorpio
Yes,
placements in
of
your
course.
chart. No, no, and that's great. That works for you. I would struggle probably like I have. I would struggle in North Carolina, and it's funny. We're talking about just a little bit further south, but the culture of the state mixed with how it lines up with your personal astrocartography mixed with your personal chart. So it's very personalized in that way,
Come on.
and that's where
Hey,
you have
dogs.
to kind of just you know, and that's where travel really helps because even if you're just visiting a place, you can vibe it, you can feel it out, you can see like, oh, I feel really good in this place. Okay, well, why is that? And you can look at, okay, well, oh, it lines up with this certain line or whatever. So there's a super strong, if you have the ability to do that, I'm not saying travel's cheap or easy, but like if you have the ability to do that, or at least trust that, I promise you, if you
Be a
move,
hobo for a little bit, dude.
yes, yeah,
Like for
exactly.
real. Like figure out a place that you actually want to live. Find it. You'll
Well,
be good.
I'm thinking about how to do that kind of thing right now. But I guess the other thing is you guys know like about Hore, right?
Jorge?
Horary,
Or
horary,
Hori? Hori?
horary,
Jorge? Oh,
Hor
horary?
or yeah, horary
Horary?
or horary, yeah.
That's a
I
lot
mean,
more
I
simple.
kind of I don't like focus on it very much, but
Well,
yeah,
no,
I've heard about it.
but you're familiar with it enough.
I
Like,
am, yeah.
could you use that to help figure out and narrow this question down?
Okay, but that's
Help
all
me.
about when you ask the question.
Liza,
So
come on.
when did you ask that question initially, or when are you asking that question? So horary works the best when you're really compelled about something, because that is the time to cast the chart. So like it's not about like, oh, we are reminding you of like, oh, right now you're wondering about this. So then you're like, oh, well, now's the time to cast the chart. No, no, it's like when you personally are really compelled to ask a question about something, that's when you need to cast the horary chart. And it's
Yeah.
very subjective. So like you have to be in touch with yourself and like say you're just hanging out, do your thing,
Liza.
you're playing fucking Fortnite, and all of a sudden something comes to your brain out of nowhere. That's the time to cast an horary chart based on that thing you're talking about.
Gotcha.
Because it's very like
It's also when you should play the lottery.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
When your intuition is like hitting you real hard.
Yeah. But that's what like horary is kind of vague and kind of like mystical because it's like it's really when you feel
Subjective.
compelled about something, when you really feel strongly about something, when you really have a strong question, when you're like, what is my purpose? And then it comes up and it bubbles up and it
Liza.
just that's the time to cast the chart for it. So I don't know when that is for you, Troy. So like you're gonna have to like, say like you're just out of the blue, some thoughts bubble up out of nowhere. That's the time to cast the chart because it means that those thoughts bubbled up intentionally because if you want to get into like the spiritual side of it, that's when it was meant to be asked. So
Yep.
you have to
Okay.
kind of yeah, it's not like you can just cast an horary chart for any time and like, oh, we're talking about it right now, so I'm going to
No,
cast
that
for it.
makes
No,
sense.
yeah,
That
does
makes
that make
sense.
sense? It's very
No, totally,
subjective.
totally.
Be in tune with yourself. When things come up, that's a really good time to cast an horary
Well, I mean,
chart based on the
I mean,
question.
I mean,
honestly,
it's the
tarot
same.
cards might be better for most
Mm,
people. Yeah,
Well,
during
and
that
yeah,
period,
and
well,
like just
yeah,
because
no,
it's
for
more
sure. I'm just
clear.
yeah,
I'm just
agreed.
asking.
Yeah,
I'm just asking good questions. Is
no, no,
you know
no, and
my primary
horary is
role.
yeah, it's useful, but it's also more subjective in the same way that tarot is. But I would agree with Mike that like yeah, that's a time to pull a card for yourself too. So that's another way to go about it. Is like when something comes up, when something like when an impulse or a feeling or a thought about something comes up, pull a card at that moment because that's when you're gonna have
Troy,
Okay.
pull a card on whether you should move or not.
yeah
You have the deck right in front of you.
yeah okay I dig it. Let's go. What do you got?
It's crying. It's a lot of crying. Is that Nine of Swords?
I think it's the Nine of Swords.
What is
Yeah.
that? You guys are
That's a
gonna have to.
cruelty card. That's Mars and Gemini, I believe. Um,
Oh boy.
But the way I
Mars
presented
and
it to camera, I wasn't sure if it was
you have too
actually.
many choices. That's like what's happening right now. So you're just
Yeah.
sitting there worrying about like what you can do because you have too many possible decisions. So this is you staying up at night, beating yourself up, lost in like fucking thought about all the things that could possibly be because Mars and Gemini is
Anxiety, panic, insomnia.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah. Oh
yeah,
wow.
staying up at
Mike. Yeah.
night.
Well,
and
Mike nailed it.
I
God
know the
damn.
cards,
Yeah. I
dude.
was
oh
gonna
yeah,
say
no,
you fucking nailed it, bro.
he has them all memorized for sure.
Holy shit. Yeah. No. No. That was
I have
on
about a
point as fuck.
quarter of them memorized right now, but
I don't know anything about it, so that's why I'm like, whoa, that was on point.
well, to be
They're all
honest, is
connected
like
directly to astrology.
I
So
I
that's
need.
like
I
how
was
I know them.
basically
I
full
need to learn more.
atheist, and then somebody was like, "Hey, do you want me to pull a tarot card for you?" And I was like, "Sure," because I wanted to prove him wrong. And then
Yeah.
basically over the course of, like several times pulling, like, because I'd only pull one or two cards at a time for the first few times,
Liza.
and I
Yeah.
kept getting the same card over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And I shuffled the deck, and I'm just like, I know how
Come on, girl. Do
probability
you want a
works.
treat?
That doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, fuck, this shit works. And
Come
that
on.
was like one
It
of the
does.
first things that made me be like, oh fuck, like this shit works.
It
Yeah.
does work. It
Well, and
But
does.
also
anything
the
works. Like
reverse for
honestly.
that card is because see sometimes because people have different
Come on.
systems, and one thing I like to do is if I pull it out sideways or I'm not sure, is I read both of
Come on.
them and realize
Yeah.
that it's
Want a
usually a
treat?
combination of
Come on.
both of the meanings.
Come here.
Okay.
The worst of this period is behind you. This time of anxiety will not have lasting negative effects on your life.
Yeah. Well, and that's true. I mean, you're not gonna like. It's not
That,
gonna have negative effects. Whatever you decide is not gonna have lasting negative effects. Like, but the hard part for you is deciding and then going with it. And maybe that's where I mean, I get you have Earth rising, and Earth tends to, they want just concrete plans. They want to have it figured out. But to channel your fire stuff, it's like you have so much fire in your chart. Like sometimes you're just gonna have to fucking try something and fucking go for it and just follow your fucking nose and just like
mm-hmm.
see
For
what
sure.
happens. Like
I get it.
your cap rising is gonna be like, well, is it practical? Is this the right move? Does this make sense? Is this like, am I gonna be okay? Blah blah blah. And yes, those are good questions to ask in general. But sometimes you have to like override that part of ourselves and go like, you know what? Fuck it. Like I'm gonna be okay. Like have that faith. Have that fucking like, that like
Well, I
you have so
guess
much stuff. Go ahead.
right
Yeah.
yeah, right now it's like so basically it's just like with the law of attraction because essentially we're always moving towards something. It's like gravity.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything has a gravitational pull. So it's
Yeah.
like and the thing is that essentially you're going to have positive attractor fields and negative attractor fields, which basically means whether more it's a higher or lesser vibration than where you're trying to go, a higher
Yeah.
frequency. So it's just right now it's just like trying to I guess right now is like I guess personally is do I need to let go of what I have now in order
Yes.
like well it's do I need to
Yes.
completely detach?
Yeah.
I
Well, you
mean,
need to. You're not
Or
happy where
but
you are.
well
It's
yeah.
very
no
obvious.
like no like let me put it this way. I'm ready to move, but at the same time is that like and if I had a place to move, I'd move there, but at the same time is that like
Yeah. I understand that.
well, but like it's making that decision in that sense and trying to figure it out because it's like
Why don't
Yeah.
you look for a job along your lines?
Yes.
Why
That
don't you look for a job
I
not where you are, but along your lines, right?
I
Like where you
I
want to
agree.
be.
I
well
agree.
no
And they should be somewhere close to us so that we can all hang out.
Yeah, I also agree, but yeah. And
well
all of
okay
your
well
lines are fucking
if okay
fucking
I was
eastern
gonna
side
take
of
the
the country.
conversation a slightly different
Okay.
way, but if we're gonna talk about
No,
that
no, no. Go with what you were gonna say and
oh
then we'll talk about it.
no I'm just
Make
looking
your
at my
point.
chart and and apparently all of my intersecting lines are up in Canada
Well,
and
But
go
you
down.
can't go to Canada
Yeah, go
until
down.
it's part of America.
well, but
And then you can go.
ironically, I'm my dad was born in Canada.
Day of the
Oh,
rake is coming.
yeah. Are
Yeah,
Just
you
be aware.
are you a
but
Canadian
no,
citizen
my
then or
closest line here is I just don't have all of the planets memorized. I think it's Well, it says
What's it look like?
MC.
Yeah, exactly. Describe
MC,
the
it goes like this. I think it's Neptune.
MC.
It
Oh,
goes like this.
Neptune is close to where we are. Yes, I remember that from your astrocartography. Yes.
No, I mean, yeah, because Neptune's basically right off of Wilmington, to be honest. Right in between where both of you live, more or less.
Neptune. Yeah,
Well,
no,
then,
that's correct. Yeah, yeah,
It's
that's
actually
correct.
closest
and
to
that'll be
Raleigh and
fun,
Roanoke.
even if it's weird. So you might not stay here forever, but you'd probably
Yeah.
learn some
Yeah,
stuff.
but your fish brain, your Jupiter is ruled by Neptune. If we
Yep.
want to give Neptune the ruler of Pisces, you
Yep.
have, I mean, it's not all bad. Like a lot of people have
Well,
Neptune isn't always the greatest for everyone, but for you, I mean, again, I
It
would
might be
argue,
good. You're spiritually driven.
yeah, yeah,
Neptune is good for people that are spiritually driven.
yeah,
Um, yeah, it could be good. It's like the problem is like delusion, right? Like that's the
yeah,
danger of the Neptune
yeah,
line
sure.
is you can get
are
like too high on your own supply.
is that going to double down on the delusion I already have, kind of a thing?
Yes, probably. But maybe it'll make it better. Like maybe more people will buy
Yeah,
into it.
yeah,
That's what's good about
yeah.
delusion is if
You'll
people
click.
buy into it, it's cool.
Yeah, it's not all bad. It's like it'll click here better, and so you'll have people who like are on board with your type of way of going about that stuff.
Is anything going through Eugene? What's your line there?
No,
Oh, absolutely nothing.
nothing. That's what I'm saying is the close and like his moon line is the only one that it goes like through like the middle of the country and then it branches off towards Phoenix, Arizona. The closest on the west side of the country is Phoenix, Arizona. Everything else is
In the East?
east of the middle of the country.
Yeah,
So
I
like
mean,
starting in Kansas City,
well, that's also.
Louisiana.
I mean,
Yeah.
but I also I mean, this is also I did my Astro travel chart, so I don't know if the travel chart is
Oh,
different
is
from
that not?
other things. I don't
Well,
know. I'm
Why
still
aren't you
learning.
just showing us this on the screen so that we
yeah,
can look at it?
yeah, that'd be good.
I mean, sure,
I mean,
I'll dox
do it
myself.
based on it's based on your birth chart, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that is what it is. I mean, it's travel. I mean, you could do a relocation chart. You could do there's different, but the principles are
Oh, you have to
similar
allow
behind them.
sharing.
Oh,
All we're trying to say, Troy, is that you're not happy where you are and you should find a new place to be.
try to
Oh,
That's
share
all
in
we're
all.
trying to say.
Yeah,
no,
And you're
I get
fighting
that.
against it a little bit, and you should listen to these wiser, not older people
Wise
necessarily,
assier.
but I'm
not
older.
yeah, I'm younger. Yeah, but hey,
Um,
I just moved across the country, Troy, and I promise you, it was scary as fuck. And I was like, holy shit, and it was worth it. I promise you. The shift in my energy is night and day. And I promise you that moving to a different place will shift how you feel, how you perceive things. I mean, it's again, I understand it's hard, it's scary, it's a big change, it can be expensive. There's a lot of like real world
Oh
practical
yeah.
factors that go involved. But like what that does for you moving forward is like I cannot emphasize. And so yeah, finding a good place, like trusting your intuition, finding a place that works for you, like that's important. But like I'm not saying you have to come here. I'm just saying anywhere different than where you're at because it looks like a lot of your shit is telling you to come to the eastern side of the United States. Basically divide the United States, the continents of the United States in half.
go east, young man.
Anywhere east of the middle of the country will benefit you.
Yep.
I promise. And it's
Yeah.
scary. I'm not denying that, but sometimes you just have to fucking take a leap and you'll be amazed at what it does for you.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I'm down as much as the humidity and crappy weed scares me, you know.
Oh, there's some
You'll be fine.
you're fine.
You'll just learn to eat the gummies.
Dude,
You'll
bro.
learn to eat the Delta
Yeah.
8. It's fine.
There's good weed
Or you'll
everywhere.
find a dude like I found a dude and he
Yeah.
just gives me
Yeah.
gummies every once in a
Yeah.
while. It's really nice.
Yeah.
Real
There's
nice.
Edibles
plenty
don't
of
really work on me.
there's plenty of weed all over the country. You'll find a fucking person who can get you some fucking grass. It's fine.
Then you have to know the person, which sucks. But it
Yeah, yeah.
is, yeah, that's the only problem.
But
Oh
but
my God.
don't let that hold you back because you're basically and take this I mean this in the nicest way possible. You are making excuses inside yourself to stay
I'm
in a
no.
situation.
Stagnant.
Well, like, let me put it
Yeah.
this way: I'm identifying the excuses I have, so
Yes,
that,
fair.
and to be
So
honest,
that we
is
can
like,
call them out.
no, but like those are the most legitimate ones. Oh, and also I have Medicaid here, but either way, except for
Um,
Oh.
bro, the
What do you
Medicaid in
need it
South,
for?
bro.
What are you on?
Everyone
oh,
has, every
I
state has Medicaid.
no, it's just more that it's I've just been on long enough that it's just nice to have. It's helping me with. No, I'm getting neurofeedback and therapy right now.
Okay,
That's it right
cool.
now. So just helping reset
So,
my brain.
ah,
Hey, Troy,
Yeah.
do it,
No, it's doing
do
well.
it. Take
I
a
just
only
leap
do
of
have a
it.
faith.
session
Just
early
do it.
today.
Just
You
fucking
need
do
to
it.
do it. You need to
Yeah,
do
yeah,
something.
No,
yeah,
You're
but this is
stuck where
just
you are.
yeah.
no, I
You
get
have
I'm
that,
not found something that you
but you have
want
to
to do there
understand that
yet.
part of the reason I'm asking these questions is to
yeah.
make a decent segment because other people might have these questions
No,
too.
no,
So I'm trying to ask
and
these
they're good.
questions so that I'm not just trying to get encouragement. This isn't me just like trying to rationalize myself out of it. This is me trying
Yeah.
to flesh out a
Well,
subject as well. So
well, and that's great, and I agree with that. And what we're also saying is, based on your specific chart, the astrocartography about your specific chart, it's telling you to come to the eastern side of the United States. So someone else watching this, they can pull up their astrocartography and they can say,
Maybe it's
okay,
going to tell them to go to Portland for some
yeah,
fucking reason, you know?
exactly.
Who
That
knows, you
that
know?
might be perfect for them, but
Yeah.
that's not you. Your individual, everyone is different. Just like we all have different astrological charts. Our astrological chart, our fucking psyche, our makeup, our soul, whatever you want to call it, we all fit in different energetic ways in different places. So you might, everyone fits in a different place differently. Everyone excels in some areas of the country or the world, and other people, it's detrimental to them. What what everyone should do who's watching this is look at your individual chart, do the astrocartography. Astro.com has this function for free. You can
so
look at that and find the place that works for you.
So apparently,
It's
my Uranus and Mercury
yep,
are
that's what,
intersected online.
yep,
What would
yep.
that
And
be?
they go
Where
through
do they intersect?
Kansas City.
Um,
Kansas City. That's cool as
I
shit.
mean,
I mean, I
basically,
don't know if it's cool or not,
I
but
mean,
it'd be
well,
fun to go to.
the screen share is still not working. So,
You would be close to Robert.
Um
I think he's close to there.
try screen sharing one more time because it's not asking me, and I'm happy to share it.
well, it says is an allowing. So I don't know. You have to change settings or something.
Fuck. Okay, hold on.
But
All good.
but
Not too
basic,
worried.
but
Fuck.
basically, it goes right
Isn't
through.
Robert close to Kansas City?
Well,
Robert
hold on.
Kenyon. Oh,
It um uh it basically
I think
goes
he's
right
in
through the
Missouri, yeah?
border. It's right on the border of Texas and Louisiana pretty much and goes pretty
Oh.
much straight north.
yeah. Doesn't it go through Kansas
Northern
City?
Louisiana? You could be Baton Rouge, maybe.
Yeah. Hold on, I'll find it. I'll share it. Hold on, one sec. Because this is worth sharing because it's a good lesson in
Astrocartography.
exactly.
Well, I can
So
also
I'm
just
going
copy it
to
real quick. Yeah,
yep. Oh, you're good. You're good.
I think we're probably pretty close to the end of this
Yeah.
cycle, too.
I have
Yeah.
8 more minutes.
So let's try to wrap it
Share
out up in these last 8 minutes.
photo. Yeah. Let's do it. Well, so basically, yeah, we're this is Troy's astrocartography. Can you guys see it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So the Uranus, I'm zooming in. I don't know if you can see me zooming in. So you have green and blue. They come together. Kansas City is just to the left of them, obviously, and they come down. So that's one example. So like, okay, but as you can see, I don't know if you guys can see, there's nothing over here. It shows Troy's, it shows Portland, which I think is his point of what is that point of
Origin.
oh,
Yeah.
okay, that makes sense.
Incarnation point.
Yeah. Everything is, I mean, so you have Saturn and Chiron over there, but I
You
wouldn't
don't want to
really.
live
Yeah,
there.
yeah, I was gonna say, but everything else, as if you can tell, besides the moon runs over to Phoenix.
Oh, is that what's over there in New Mexico area?
Uh,
Oh,
the
sorry, Arizona.
yeah, the moon is the one that runs towards Phoenix. And then you have Jupiter, which is the one that runs near Austin, Texas. I think Austin is just to the right of that.
Yeah,
I'm not.
your Jupiter Uranus line is like very strong. And anywhere along that line, going down like through Minnesota, um, down the line would be pretty good. Like
Yeah,
north, right on the edge of you were talking about right on the edge of Texas and Louisiana. If you
yeah.
look, that line actually intersects Texas and Louisiana.
It does. Yeah.
Um, your Mars line is good too. Your Sun line is like through Michigan.
It's his sun line
Everything's
goes.
on the East Coast for you,
Yeah.
dude. You need to
Hit,
go to the East Coast.
yeah. His sun goes through Atlanta, Georgia. I mean, it also goes through like Kentucky. I think it goes through like Lexington or one of those places in Kentucky.
Atlanta.
It goes through Atlanta. His fucking Venus goes right through Ottawa, Canada, and then through New York or close to New York City. So
Yeah.
it's a little off. Obviously, New
Michigan's too
Jersey.
cold.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, you'll notice like a bunch
Ohio's
of
on.
it, yeah. It's all on the eastern side of the country for the most part. Like if you look at the western side of the country, it's like, nah, nothing.
I
And it's not
mean,
a bad
isn't
necessarily, but
isn't Nashville
Your
there too?
moon line does go through Phoenix. You could go to Phoenix if you
Phoenix is
really.
yeah.
Well, I think Phoenix sucks though, so I
I
wouldn't go
I
there.
haven't been, yeah. But
You
you
don't
know,
need to go to a city necessarily either, a big city. You
yeah,
could go to like some place that needs like a worker. Honestly, man, if you have a good work ethic,
yeah,
you can like literally find a job anywhere in the country besides where you are.
yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Many people want like workers. You just have to find a place that you want to work, like here, as long as you show up in some of the lower level jobs, then, it's not necessarily going to be like lower level jobs here, like you can still make a lot if you're like a bartender or something like that. If you're good at it, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of food service jobs around here. There's a ton of jobs here that you could land on and work at and like make your living until you figured out how you're going to bring in extra money, right? It wouldn't be something you depend on completely, but like literally, it's super easy to find work here if you have a work ethic. If you don't have one, then no, it's not going to be easy. But do you have a good work ethic? It feels like you do. From what you've told us about your job, you tried hard,
I mean,
you
no,
know?
like I have a good work ethic. I just don't really fit in corporate environments where there's arbitrary bullshit. That's
Yeah.
just like it's like if we could just be like, hey, here's what's expected of you, and you don't have to deal with like weird like subterfuge and stupid triangulation all the time. Then yeah, I do pretty well. But it's just like it's just direct communication, and I'm a jack of all trades, so it's like I'm used to driving equipment and all kinds of equipment, and then farming
You'll be
and
fine. Yeah.
carpentry
Oh,
and
dude.
customer
Yeah.
service
Just
and
get
sales.
forklift certified, man. It's going to
Yeah,
be fun.
that
I
shit's
have
good
thousands of
everywhere.
hours on a forklift.
Oh, dude, no, that shit. I promise you, anywhere you go, you'll find jobs with that kind of stuff. Like yeah,
Yeah, it's
I
that's
had
just
this really cool
universal.
forklift that I would use for my job, and you would lift up like this big pile of like garbage and you'd turn it. It was like a turning forklift. Have you
oh, the
ever used one of
rotating
those?
ones.
Yeah, the rotating ones where you like lift it up in the air and you put it over the garbage can and dump
We
it.
had those in the
Yeah,
lavender farm because we'd
Oh, they're
have the
so fun.
bins of lavender, the distillation bins. We'd stomp the lavender down,
Yeah.
and like literally we'd have piles of lavender that was just like you jump into a leaf, like a pile of leaves. We jumped into a pile of lavender, and then
Time check.
yeah, and then we just scoop it in. We got 3 minutes. But it's like literally
yeah.
just like going home smelling like lavender, like those like
Oh, I love the smell
so,
of lavender. I
so
get
two
it.
those 2 weeks of harvest and distillation where it's just like we just throw shit, just all this lavender in there, and then just sit there and just like and just
Pretty sure lavender is Libra coated. I'm not totally sure, but the amount of resonance that I have with that plant suggests that it's a Libra plant.
it it's a it's a
Anybody
great one.
know?
No, I don't
Is
I
know.
don't know.
lavender a Libra plant?
We got 3 minutes. 2 minutes.
Unknown. Well, boys, it's been wonderful time. AstroBros, it's been a wonderful time.
Oh,
I've had a
yeah.
great time talking with y'all.
No,
Obviously, take
lavender
away the
is
parts
not a
where we went
Libra
like
plant.
this. What?
I don't know. I just said, is it a Libra plant? And Google AI said, no, it's not a Libra plant, nor is Libra birth flower.
Well, okay. So say what plant is Libra? What plant? What sign is lavender associated with?
Mm. Mm.
What astrological sign is lavender associated with?
Gemini.
Huh. Well, my gut's wrong, or they're wrong.
Well, it is just Google. This is just off the top, you know.
Oh,
But
okay.
you know, we're one source guys. We're all just from the one source, and we only need one source to validate
That's
our
true.
assertions.
Okay, we're
You
down to
know,
like 2
Because that's
minutes, so
science.
it's been lovely, boys. I will see
Yep.
you all on the flip side. Enjoy your evening, Astro Bros.
Well, I
It's been a
look forward
pleasure.
to the next time that I can flip your guys' sides
Yes.
Hey.
like flapjacks.
Peace.
Peace.
Peace. All right.
See you next time.